In today's video, what should you do to get a good amount of maintenance calories after your cut?
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Rebella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss just how to increase your maintenance calories after you've undergone a cut. Now, if this is the type of information that you're looking for, nutrition, training, the science of fat loss, well, please hit the subscribe button because that's what I do here. And for today's video topic, I went to my Instagram direct message to answer one of your questions. So if you go to my Instagram here on the screen, follow along, send me a direct message. I'll try to get to it, answer your question. And first, I'm gonna read today's. I am doing a cut at the moment, but what happens after the cut, that worries me. What should I do to get a decent maintenance calorie after the cut? Because my current calorie is around 2,000. Thank you. All right, so I want to talk about a few different aspects of how to get your calories up after a cut. And I'm going to give you some specifics. I'm going to talk a little bit about physiology, a little bit about psychology, and a little bit about like realistic expectations because I don't know a lot about you. But cutting on 2,000 calories, depending on how much muscle you have, how old you are, how much you weigh, it could be just the starting point. You might need to get a lot lower than that to find out where you're going to go. But here's my general rule of thumb. You should be, throughout a fat loss phase, using something called a refeed day. That's right, once or twice a week, or maybe even less or more frequent, doesn't really matter. You should be having days where you put a little bit more emphasis on glycogen restorage, meaning carbohydrates to fill out your muscle stores. And that should happen maybe once or twice a week where we're actually taking the time to do that and making sure we're not storing body fat. So how do you do that? Well, typically what I'll do is I might bring protein and fats down a little bit on a day when I'm gonna have a little bit more carbohydrates. I might keep them the same. It just depends on the individual. Now, what would a good refeed day look like? Well, let's say you're at 2,000 calories a day and you're having 250 grams of carbs a day. Well, a refeed might be anywhere from 300 to 400 grams of carbohydrates, or maybe even a little bit more. It just depends on your history. I would start with a smaller number. So if you're at 250 grams of carbs, I would start around 350 and see how you respond. If after a few days your weight is still stable, your muscles feel fuller, the next time around you could try 400. Again, this is going to be very variable, but there's a real reason why I want you to use refeeds during a fat loss approach. Because what I typically find at the end of a cut is that we can use those refeed numbers as a rough number for your maintenance. We can also plan, once the cut is over, to start increasing calories gradually, but it has to come from your psychology first. A lot of times when we enter a fat loss phase or a cut like this, we understand that it's going to be very difficult for a set amount of time, and we have a set amount of time. But once it ends, our mindset will shift and we'll no longer be focused on cutting or a fat loss phase. So because that happens, we start to snack a little bit more. We might change our habits, miss a little bit of cardio here and there. And so for that reason, the psychology needs to be that not that the process is over, but that we're simply shifting gears and we're reverse dieting. We're going to intentionally add calories and bring cardio down so that you can maintain a very lean physique, one that you've worked very hard for. There's probably going to have to be a point where you decide what is your happy place for body fat for maintenance, okay? A lot of times when we get really lean, we push through this area and then we get to low energy, our food is low, we start to have some food focus, and we start to realize that this isn't the best place for us to be, okay? The best place for us to be is one where our energy is high, we feel, for the most part, pretty full throughout the day, we're not food focused, and our energy is really good in the gym, we're getting good sleep, and so we can remain relatively lean and do this, but it's gonna require a little bit of work. But if you are lifting, doing cardio, and paying attention to your diet, well, certainly this is important to you already, so why not put the mindset in place that when you reach the body composition where you're happiest, you're gonna approach this reverse diet period by walking calories up walking cardio down. Now, typically what I'll do with my clients that are coming out of a show or a fat loss phase is I will give them a week where we're gonna look at how they respond after the cut, bringing calories up, bringing cardio down. I might even reduce the frequency of their training. So if they've been training 6 days a week, we might bring the training back to 5, just to allow them a little bit of time for recovery. Make sure their bodies are adapting well to the process. The goal now is gonna shift, okay, from fat loss to putting on some lean body mass or maintaining the lean body mass if you're happy at this place. Most of the people that I work with are interested in going through different cycles of gaining muscle and losing body fat until they reach the body composition that gets them on stage. However, I don't know what your goal is. You didn't really mention it here. So I'm gonna assume that you wanna continue to add muscle. So for this reason, you're gonna need to focus on the 3 basic macronutrients. 1, making sure you're getting enough protein. 2, making sure you're getting enough fat. And 3, using carbohydrates as probably the biggest variable in the fat loss equation, where carbohydrates are gonna come down quite a bit. The leaner you get, you're gonna pull from that. And that means your workouts might suffer a little bit, okay? Now, cardio. I know it's often used as a bad word, but if you just think of any movement that you do throughout the day as a way to increase the amount of calories that you're burning, well, what you're doing is you're just helping yourself create a deficit. Instead of having to get food really low, you can just be somebody that moves more. My favorite forms of cardio are often just walking. I have many of my clients just do things like incline treadmill walking. Sometimes we'll even just do outside lifestyle walking. Paying attention to the amount of steps you take per day with a fitness tracker is another great way. If you're only getting a few thousand steps and you go up to 10 or 20,000 steps a day, you might find that you're able to maintain a leaner physique and you might get out and enjoy the day a little bit because you're getting off your work schedule, okay? So a lot of this is gonna come down to being very intentional with the purpose. Having the mindset that you're going to not completely stop what you were doing. All the habits, all the things that you did to get you lean, you need to keep them. We're just gonna start intentionally increasing the calories. Now, how many calories should you add per week? Well, this is a great topic for discussion. I will typically add 50 to 100 calories per week to an individual if they don't gain weight or if they drop. Now, should those calories come from carbs or fats or protein? That's a tough decision, and it goes based on how the person responds to me when I ask them, okay, if we add food this week, is there anything you're craving? Is there anything in your diet that you feel like you've been restricting? A lot of times I like to make sure we're getting our fats up because why? That helps with a lot of our hormonal processes. But if they tell me they're craving carbs, maybe their workouts would be better if we add in some carbs. Some people love protein. So I typically go with a gram of protein per pound for my athletes. So if I have a 150 pound male, he might be on 160, 170 grams of protein. But if he really loves protein, we might push that up to 200. Protein is one of those things that's very difficult to convert to fat. So you can raise the protein calories quite a bit without having a lot of negative impact on body composition. So it comes down to the individual's preferences. So that might be a way to kind of hack. Adding calories in through the use of protein might allow you to stay leaner because you're fuller, you have more food volume. Okay, so it comes down to how you want to approach this. But having a plan coming out of a cut that allows you to maintain and stay leaner is going to make the process that much better. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you're having an awesome day. I do want to say thank you, guys. I just put this little plaque thing up right here. Yeah, you guessed it. That is a YouTube 100,000 subscriber plaque. I couldn't do it without you guys. I really appreciate it. Never expected to have this many subscribers, and I'm just humbled. And I'm looking forward to put out some more content. And if you haven't subscribed, click it now. Maybe we'll get to 1 million someday.